Drama peak. Jamie Dornan suddenly announces ending with Dakota Johnson, shocking reason. London was awash in the late afternoon mist. Grey clouds stretched across the ancient buildings, as if foretelling an impending psychological storm. Jamie Dornan sat in a car parked on the side of the road, gently turning his fingers on the steering wheel while his gaze stared out the window. The tension in his heart rose with each beat, as if his heart and mind were struggling to come to a decision together. For many months now, his relationship with Dakota Johnson, the person he once loved so much, had been through stormy days. Invisible distances, long silences, hurtful words that were not easy to mend. Both of them tried to hold on, tried to understand each other, but there were cracks too deep that were not easy to mend. Jamie remembered the first days he met Dakota, a bright smile, sharp eyes, a gentle but sincere voice. They had gone through beautiful days together, unforgettable memories, candlelit dinners, uncertain trips, whispers at midnight. But as time went on, the distance between them grew. Schedules, work pressure, unresolved misunderstandings, all piled up like huge waves crashing on the shore of their souls. He wondered, was there any other way to keep it? Could he sit down, talk, mend things? But the tired look on Dakota's face, the rare smile and the colder voice than before made him realize, maybe, the feelings had faded a long time ago. The car honked softly, reminding him to keep going. Jamie sighed, turned the key, opened the door and stepped out. A light rain began to fall, the raindrops spreading on the road, the yellow lights blurred in the night. He walked under the awning of a small cafe, where he and Dakota used to sit, drink cappuccino and share dreams. The metal door slowly closed behind him, and he sat down, staring coldly at the steaming cup of coffee before him. 2. The unsent letter. Before making the announcement, Jamie wrote a letter, not sent, but it was his way of putting all the words he wanted to say, the feelings he wanted to express. The letter was kept in the palm of his hand during sleepless nights, where he muttered each line. Dakota, there are times when I wonder, if I start over, would I be able to do things differently? Could I go slower, listen more, be more patient? Baby, I know I've made a lot of mistakes, let small things pile up as barriers. But love is a journey of two people. If one of us doesn't continue, then all efforts are just a passing wind. I can't continue to endure the silence, the invisible distances. I don't want to continue hurting you with unspoken words, with indifferent coldness. I need the truth, I need transparency. If you don't want to try anymore, then maybe, we should stop now. This is not a failure, just the end of a journey. I always cherish what we once had, the unforgettable memories. Thank you for being with me, for loving me in your own way, you, Jamie. He folded the letter and put it in the small desk drawer of his rented apartment in central London, where their laughter and conversation had echoed. The letter was not sent, because he was afraid to see Dakota's eyes, afraid to hear her sigh when she read it. But it was imprinted on his heart, the pent-up words, the apology, the unspoken goodbye. 3. The fateful phone call. One afternoon, Jamie received a call from his communications manager. He was asked to prepare an official statement. Jamie Dornan announces the end of all affections related to Dakota Johnson. This statement would be sent to the press, the media, the public. Everyone needed to know, they're over. Every word in the few paragraphs had to be carefully considered. No insults, no heavy-handed embellishments. Just the truth, gentle, respectful, but also decisive. He worked through the night, amid dim lights and bitter coffee. He wrote, deleted, edited, discarded, and rewrote. Every time he put the pen down, his heart ached. But he knew, if he didn't Rumors would swirl, misunderstandings would spread, and Dakota would be under unnecessary pressure. Finally, the finalized statement was about to be sent out. Jamie called Dakota. He wanted to speak directly before the news broke. It was a tremor when he heard the phone ring. "Hello?" Dakota's voice was soft, a little suspicious. "Dakota, I need to tell you something," Jamie said, her voice hoarse. She was silent for a moment, then softly, Jamie took a deep breath. "I am going to release a statement that we're over. I want you to know it from me first, not from the press." "What do you want to hear? What do you want to say?" Dakota exhaled, as if her long-hidden pain was amplified. I just want to know why," she said, her voice hushed. Why did it end like this?" Jamie swallowed. "Because we tried, but there were things that couldn't be fixed. Because you were too quiet for too long, because I was too stubborn. Because the distance between us wasn't just geographical, but emotional. Baby, I couldn't continue to assume that everything is okay when there are cracks in my heart." She was silent again, a second, 2 seconds, as if suppressing the pain. Then she said, her voice running. "I don't know if I can keep trying when I don't see your eyes on me anymore." The words were like sharp knives digging into Jamie's heart. Tears in her eyes. "I'm sorry, Dakota. I love you more than anything. But from now on we'll walk, each on our own." The conversation ended in silence. Jamie relaxed, holding his head in his hands from exhaustion. On this side of the street, the rain fell harder. He sat there for a long time, as if waiting for a color to happen. But there was no color allowed. The next morning, the announcement was sent to entertainment news sites, major newspapers, and Jamie and Dakota's social media accounts received a media warning. Immediately, a series of articles, rumors, and comments appeared. Jamie Dornan confirms breakup with Dakota Johnson. The reason behind the breakup of the handsome couple. How did Dakota react? Jamie sat in his manager's office, watching the phone screen flash with notifications of shares, likes, and comments. Each comment line was like a cold wind blowing into his heart. Some supported him, some criticized him, some sympathized with Dakota, some were curious about the reason. He did not post anything more. Silence was the only option at the moment. Dakota, after receiving the public announcement, also posted a short line, "Thank you for the moments we had together. Now it's time for each of us to go our separate ways." The line did not directly mention Jamie, but everyone understood that it was the end. The public was divided into 2 camps, those who said Jamie had bravely chosen to leave, those who thought he was patriarchal and insensitive. Dakota was reminded to be strong, to take more. Jamie was emphasized as the one who made the decision. But deep down, he knew, there were no winners, just broken hearts. The days after the breakup. After the announcement, Jamie returned to his villa in the suburbs of London, far from the city lights. The house was silent, except for the wind whistling through the windows. He lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, his eyes filled with darkness. He remembered every moment, Dakota's laughter echoing in the kitchen, the soft sunlight shining through the morning curtains, a small hand holding his in the rain. His heart bled. He tried to return to work, filming, events, socializing. But every time he stepped onto the stage, his eyes searched the crowd, for a familiar figure. Every congratulatory message from fans, every interview, "Do you regret it?" He just smiled awkwardly. No regrets. But there is nostalgia. Dakota disappeared from public events. She also quietly returned to work, new roles, personal projects. She behaved calmly, did not speak up, did not blame. In a rare interview, she only said, I always believe that every relationship has its time. There are things that cannot be held back by feelings alone. The light but sharp words seemed to cut into the hearts of those who followed the story. Fans were moved, wishing her strength, and feeling sorry for him. On long nights, Jamie often walked alone in the rain or sat at the old pub, looking at the light brown wine glass full of cigarette smoke and memories. He heard Dakota's footsteps walking away in his head, her words echoing, "Why? You don't want it anymore? I want a sincere word." Every time he remembers, it hurts, but he also knows, if he continues to hold on, they will both hurt. As time passes, the wound gradually heals, not completely, but less painful. Jamie learns to accept loneliness, learns to live with memories. Dakota, too, she stands up strong, continues to pursue her passion for acting, and lives her own life. It's finally over. A year after the announcement, Jamie Dornan held a personal press conference, where he prepared to elaborate on his decision and future direction. In front of the camera, in front of dozens of reporters, in front of the endless flash, he stood up straight, in a white shirt, his eyes sad but firm. "Hello everyone. Today, I want to clarify the decision I announced a year ago. I want to close the chapter on my love story and start a new journey, not only about my work, but about myself. First of all, I would like to confirm, all feelings related to Dakota Johnson have ended. This means no more quiet love, no more hope of healing, no more holding on to what has broken. We have tried, but feelings are not objects to be forced, to be molded to fit. There are things that, if not natural, will cause both of us to break up. I am extremely grateful to Dakota for what she has given me, happy days, loving eyes, memories I will carry with me for the rest of my life. I apologize if in the process I have hurt you. That was never now is my intention. Now, I will open my heart to new opportunities, with a heart that has learned to accept, to let go, to love without possessive instincts. Thank you everyone for your support. Thank you Dakota, for being a beautiful part of my life." The camera panned to the reporter, the journalist, their eyes curious, sympathetic, and bustling. Jamie bowed, then left the podium. Outside the conference room, he stood silently looking at the grey London sky, as if in sympathy with his current mood. 7. Legacy of Love and a New Path. After the press conference, many articles analyzed the emotional development between Jamie and Dakota. Some said, Jamie bravely admitted the truth. Some said, maybe he made a mistake before, but now he chose a new path. Some felt sorry for Dakota, hoping she would find someone more worthy, but Jamie no longer cared about the gossip. He started writing the film script he had been cherishing for a long time, a story about people, love, loss and resurrection. He traveled to many places, took photos, experienced, lived. Every action was a piece of himself. Dakota continued on screen. She took the lead role, showing deep inner feelings. Her looks in the films after the breakup created associations between sadness, strength, and power among the audience. The role brought her praise, awards, and recognition from colleagues. One evening, at a film awards ceremony in Los Angeles, Jamie and Dakota appeared in the same frame, not as a couple, but as two special individuals, strong. When the nominations were announced, they presented awards to each other, shook hands, and greeted the audience with difficulty. Almost no one avoided their eyes, but there was no longer any past affection, no longer any open fragments. They touched each other with religion. On stage, Dakota delivered her acceptance speech. I believe that everyone has their own path, their own light to walk towards. There are things we have to let go of to get to something better. The words touched the hearts of the listeners, and the people who remembered Jamie. Jamie returned to the threshold, looked at Dakota from afar, smiled slightly, not a regretful smile, but a smile of accomplishment, understanding the value of letting go.